Okay, so some more questions about debt recovery, as this is a very sensitive topic to many investors. I think it was like maybe 6 months ago or less, but there was a webinar that was focused on some changes on Crowdestor, and you said that you will now have strict policy, how you deal with borrowers who are late, and that you will show no mercy, update each project within 30 days and stuff like that. But since then, I think in most cases that's not what's really happening.
Actually, we have. If we talk about SME segment, then in this segment, indeed, we are not so actively looking for restructurings and solutions, and we are whether going to court, insolvency, or criminal case also. Mm-hmm. Insolvency at the moment, no, because insolvency today is not is prohibited to submit insolvency application. Mm-hmm. Which is actually a problem, and which is also one of the reasons why we still maybe have not this option to follow this debt collection policy, because we don't have this option to submit insolvency. So I think last week we made a week before last week we made an update explaining that in some more than 20 cases we have actually cancelled the contract and went to court or going to court in next 1-2 weeks. Mm-hmm. If we talk about specialized cases, then in many specialized cases we have prolonged or made some kind of other restructuring. And also at the moment we have, let's say, a package of projects where we will carry out some also prolongations. But there is a very big amount of projects where the solution is not very simple. As I said, for example, this project which you also saw, this inch, mm-hmm. We have also some cases like, in Tallinn we have a volleyball hall which is a very good object. It's located in a good location, this Ullemiste district. It is the biggest volleyball hall, if I'm correct, in Tallinn, and the second biggest in Baltic states. So the object is good. But what is the case there? So they are leasing premises from this owner of real estate. Yeah. They have done the renovation. The renovation works are really big because the object is huge. So they have spent money on all the ventilation systems, on the lights, on the electricity. Made like a totally new internal renovation. The sands and bars and so on. So if we will go in such a case, a very simple debt enforcement procedure like insolvency, then it will bring very bad results, very, very, very bad results. Because if insolvency administrator comes and organizes auctions, then those assets which he can sell are very, very little comparing to the total expenses. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have lots of such projects where we have to look for solution, whether because it is not smartest to submit insolvency, volleyball, inch, also the resorts, many other projects, or another reason is that because we cannot submit insolvency, which theoretically in some cases is efficient mechanism. Yes, we can go to court, but if we go to court, then sometimes it can take 1, 2, or even more years. So, and also because of this prohibition to submit insolvencies, we are in some cases maybe trying to look for some kind of prolongation instead of going to court, because sometimes it's better to prolong a project for 1 year instead of going to court and fighting for 2 years. If they're ready to pay some regular payments for the 1 year. So it's not that we are not doing anything, but I think, and which is, let's say, our fault, is that maybe we should try to explain more what kind of, let's say, packages do we have in our portfolio. Because yes, there are some cases where we can and we are going to court, but then there are some packages where we should not go to court or insolvency because of some reasons, whether legal or because of the business case. But still, as I said, yes, I totally agree that we have at the moment lots of these problematic and late projects, but actually some are, yes, late, but not so problematic. So that's why at the moment, this is what basically I said in the very beginning, that we are and we will be concentrating more on this instead of let's say funding new projects.
Some of the projects that I was mentioned are grocery store, that it's not defaulted and it's 17 months late, and in that case I think it was promised that you hold some commercial pledge on real estate, and then it should be quite easy to take tower. Or am I wrong?
In such a case, usually all the contracts with Maxima has a clause, whether it is Maxima, Rini or whatever those grocery stores, that in case if there are such procedures, then they usually cancel that agreement. Which means that if we will start this, then again there is a possibility that we will not recover all the money because only of the real estate, if we will sell the real estate without the tenant. In maybe some other platform, if they would have given a pure loan to value 60% only from the premises, then yes, it is easier. But if we are in the beginning giving this loan like to the business, including also the upside value which comes from this tenant, and now when we have to deal, if we talk about debt collection, then to ignore this upside from the tenant and just to go after this property, that's not...
So it could be if you sell it, you lose money?
Yes.
Okay, and
again, in this case, the borrower is also very, let's say, responsive, and I know, and he has been sending me screenshots about his communication with the bank and with the buyer, because at the moment he's in parallel having discussions with a bank who potentially refinances him and a buyer who wants to buy. So for him, both are acceptable. And he will accept, let's say, the first one which is ready to sign agreement. Yes. So it is late, yes, but.
So in short, if the borrower is responsive, then you are ready to work with him. Wait a year or more.
And if we understand that we can lose this contract and lose the economical upside from the project, well then yes, in my personal opinion, it is better to wait even a year instead of bringing losses. But of course, as I said, there is always like some kind of time. But in this specific case, well, why it is so much late? Because the construction authority simply was asking for, let's say, things which usually it doesn't ask for a very long time, for a very, very, very long time. I think that it was almost 1 year late because only the construction, let's say the technical project, finalizing it in the construction permit. But
then I'm not completely sure that it's this case, but in many projects, so you advertise quite good loan-to-value ratio. So it means that if...
in this case, we don't have any loan-to-value ratio.
So in this case, it's just not there, so meaning that if it's sold, you would lose money. So Okay, and then what about projects that are connected to Crowdestor? Like basically you, as I understand, Gunnars is not connected to any projects. There is a big conflict of interest, right? And if these projects are late, and how do you plan to deal with them? That from one side you need to recover money from yourself, and do you think it's the best approach would be to try find solution on your own, or to possibly later give this recovery to some third party that would be independent?
I still want to explain once again that why we have these projects. That the reason is that really it was a logical evolution of a platform, because if we look at other platforms, they also in the beginning had such type of projects. The bad luck is that in our case, we were very negatively affected by this year 2020, when many things really happened. The buyers in one moment didn't buy something, then not able to raise money. Now the prices are going up for the renovation, so many such things. But if we talk about, theoretically I agree, that if we look at it, then it is a conflict of interest. But if you ask me personally, then as I said, also in many other cases, like for example in volleyball or in Inch or in Maxima or whatever project it is, I really want to look for the best solution. In my opinion, and I would like that we have such investors, because I understand that there will always be some investors who are not happy. Yes, and in case if there are investors who don't like this approach, that in some cases we are looking for this positive solution which automatically comes with delays, then most probably these are not, let's say, our investors. In the same time, I am very sure that there are lots of investors who like this, that I am staying there in those projects and looking for this solution till the end, because I want that even the most problematic cases are solved as good as possible. And this is also a case in our own projects. I could theoretically simply go and submit or give to a bailiff one or another building. I could. He would organize an auction. He would take his own fee, first of all, 10% from the transaction. He would put it in the market maybe 20% under the valuation, because he wants to have a fast result. So it's minus 20% starting price, 10% his own fee. Also, I understand that some of those objects maybe are in a situation that if we would invest another 150,000 euros, we would increase the value maybe for 300,000 euros, and he won't do it. So yes, theoretically, I agree that there is conflict of interest, but what I want to do is to bring this result as good as possible. And afterwards, we will not build so much buildings ourselves, but if I will be able to say after half a year or 1 year that we have this and this and this positively sold, yes, it took 6 or 9 months more or even 1 year, I think that it will be better than instead of saying that here we had this big loss and so on.
But assuming that, let's say that a year passes, the buildings are still not, I don't know, renovated or sold, is there a point where you would,
of course,
say that okay, maybe it's time?
Actually, we already have put these buildings for sale already. Yes. So of course we are looking for simply to sell them, and that's all. If to sell them quickly, it will bring us 50 or 100,000 loss. Okay, we will be ready to compensate it. But if it's gonna be seriously bigger loss, then well, we can't, we simply can't compensate it. So then the question, do we really have to sell it with so big losses?
But in any case, if you would sell it yourself, it would produce better result than if it's done.
I am totally assured
But in an auction, right?
Of course. Because you know how things are in Latvia with these, let's say, insolvency administrators. The most important is their fee, fast transaction. Maybe in some case the buyer is a specific buyer, which means that more lower price. All these things can happen, and that's why I'm. But you know, actually last week we had 9 projects fully repaid. 9. So it's not that everything is late. Yes, of course, lots of them are late. And I agree also that in many cases we still haven't delivered an update. But again, the example is this inch. We have been negotiating with him for 9 months. If we will put an update every 1 month, then unfortunately sometimes it is that I have a feeling better I will not put this update despite that people are waiting, because I also don't want to start putting updates and then everything changes. And that's why at the moment I maybe do it with the purpose that holding a little bit these updates, half updates, I want to be a little bit more sure about the situation.
In Telegram, there were some guys, I don't know, maybe trolls or not, but that said that for some projects, commissions were paid in cash, and
none of them.
That has never happened.
No, why should we? We can officially ask for a commission. We have declared that our commission is from 3 to, I don't remember, in SME report we had this 3 to 16%. Yes, so.
It's just that if it would be the case, then it could somehow maybe explain that for some projects you are more friendly, not forcing debt recovery and so on. If there is some kind of other.
In the very beginning, honestly speaking, it was totally opposite. In the very beginning, in 2018 and 2019, we were asking very, very small commissions. In some cases, we were doing even without commissions because we wanted some deals in our platform, because we knew that a good, nice project in our platform can bring us more investors, more money, this reputation. We will be recognizable. So we have been giving really discounts to many projects.
Okay, got it. So that's not the case, and there is no additional conflict of interest?
No.
Okay. Then, according to Crowdestor statistics, 7.6% of projects are in recovery. Can you tell a bit more about any results so far? What does it mean in recovery? Does it mean you have submitted some papers somewhere, or does it mean that you have actually recovered something as well from these problematic projects?
Actually, I could prepare you an answer afterwards, because precisely I don't know which of them are already included, which are not yet included. But in recovery, usually it means that we have let's say, whether criminal case opened or in court or things like that. If we talk about results from such cases, well, there are results. Also you mentioned this Organika. And this is actually interesting. I'll tell a bit more. The head of this company actually is sitting in Telegram group, and he's very precisely reading what happens, what do they talk, what do they don't talk, and they are reading also what do we say. And this is also one reason why I have become a little bit more cautious in terms of such public speaking, because I know that people are really sitting there. Some of them are even not hiding their name. I can show you that really there is a person in that group who is
so
there.
borrowers are following everything.
Exactly. So if we talk about this case, we opened a criminal case, and very short after the criminal case was opened, the borrower plus his relatives, they approached us and they said that where can we find the stock which was sold. So now we know where is the stock. We have, let's say, inspected it and now we are selling it. Plus we have already, confirmation that the remaining amount of money, because that's only part of the stock, other part is gone, that the other part will be repaid in some kind of schedule. So we have some results.
So in this case, any other projects or others are still in progress?
Let's say still in progress. There is another progress where let's say the attitude has been changed once the criminal case is open, because unfortunately court is not the most efficient in some cases, as you know. But it's of course not easy to open a criminal case against borrowers. But if we manage to do it, then
so that's when there you see some kind of reaction.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
There are projects like Warhunt movie or Dystopia game or Crowdestor or Smart Reviews. So projects that will have no hard assets to sell if they fail. At what point will Crowdestor decide to default them and recover, I don't know, maybe 1% or 5% or anything if they are not able to pay and if they don't act according to the schedules?
Of course, in such cases, these are the projects which I also mentioned, that it is not the smartest to simply submit some kind of insolvency or follow such procedure. So of course, these are the projects which automatically comes with very specific approach in terms of debt recovery.
But is there like some kind of time that you have maybe in your head that you see that okay, it's 1 year late now or 2 years or whatever, then this is it?
I think of course there always comes a time when we have to change, let's say, the way how we managed it before. But even if we will change, then in my opinion, the same as in Inch, we will not go and submit insolvency. We are demanding for more control in the company, to take over the shares, to take over that we can, let's say, we are sure that we are holding whatever it owns, whatever the intellectual property or the clients they have, and then if we are sure that we have taken it over, then we will be more in charge to look for the potential buyer. But I don't see that in such projects where you have, let's say, all this 99% of the value in some kind of intellectual property product, that you follow the classic debt collection procedure. This is more like an equity type. So maybe a solution can be that we are converting loans into equities or something like that, but not a classic debt collection.
But at the end, you would probably need to sell this kind of intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
And
but of course, if it is a movie, then we have to sell it in a way how movies are sold. We cannot simply go to insolvency administrator here in Latvia and say, here you have a database,
no,
here you have a login,
sure.
there is 500 gigabytes of some kind of files, and he says that he's selling something what he doesn't understand what it is. This is not the way. So if we would take over, how I see, yes, if we would take over one or another companies with such type of assets, then we should look for some professionals in the industry, or consultants, which could be helping to find the buyers.
And in case of this movie, so I think it's late as well, right? And it's kind of looking for a buyer, if I understand.
So at the moment, yes, there is a buyer which was found in this Cannes festival. They are in a stage of paperwork already.
So you expect it to close it soon, or is there a chance that it won't close?
I hope it will be closed very soon, yes.
Mm-hmm. And if not, then how long will you wait for them to try to sell it themselves, and at what point would you say that, okay?
I think such projects are so specific and complicated that if something bad happens, then we have to sit down by the table with the borrower management, understand all small details, and decide how to do and what to do. Of course, if we are waiting for something for a long time and then suddenly it doesn't happen, of course maybe we have to agree on some kind of additional security for investors. Maybe we should increase our role. Maybe ask for more, some kind of potential afterwards success fee as compensation.
Got it. But so far, you think it will end good, and you're happy with the progress?
Well, they have provided me quite a lot of information, which also gives discomfort.
Got it. Then there was a poll in Telegram, and there most of the people there, majority, voted that they want some kind of external audit to evaluate Crowdestor's portfolio. What do you think about this idea? And would you ever consider something like that?
I think it is not, of course, a big problem, but most probably it takes huge amount of time. Also money. I'm not sure if it is today personally as the priority number one for me. If we would solve many of the cases and really we would have more time and flexibility to do, we could do.
So in general, you would have no objections against something like that.
Well, because
it's just that it's not like the biggest priority for you.
I think that a very big problem. I have really been thinking a lot lately. What is those reasons why we have also publicly, for example, in that group, the negativity very good. Of course, the repayments. Of course. In the same time, when you also visited, yes, all those objects, so can you say that some of those objects are very, very bad?
Well, I want to first see some kind of more details about these buildings to make any judgments. So and ask someone who understands something from real estate. So I think at this point I have no
but also you saw many other projects which are now you're talking about several real estate projects, but there were many other companies which are you see that it is a good project running. Yes, it is. Maybe it has some kind of problems. That's why they are offering some schedule. So what I wanted to say that I think that at the moment maybe, and we should think how to change this, that we haven't managed to explain well enough what is the borrower, what is he doing, why is not only an update in cabinet once per 30 days where we are saying something short. but it doesn't give a full picture about that company.
Mm.
And that's why I'm thinking that we should really think how to give the full picture about the borrowers. And maybe then it will also, and also as I said, maybe to show some kind of that here we have a portfolio of these companies, yes, where we could submit insolvency or go to court easily, but here we have these where we cannot do it, and we have to look for this individual solution. So actually you could help me. Because you saw many projects, and I will tell you, for example, what kind of, or you can read yourself, what kind of opinion is about one or another project. Yes. Also this inch. So can you answer also to one question which I asked?
Yeah,
how
sure.
do you think that this, what I said about this inch restructuring, that we cannot go simply to court and insolvency, how do you think it is correct from our side or not correct decision?
Well, in case of inch and volleyball, I think it's quite clear that if you would go this simple route, then you would get basically nothing back, maybe 5%, 10% or whatever, like lose most of the money. That's quite clear, and I think that's the correct way of finding some different solutions. So in these projects, I couldn't criticize the actions taken. That's for that part I agree. In the cases where I have some questions and it's not clear if Crowdestor is acting in the best interest of investors, is where you have these long delays, where you kind of advertise that you have assets that are not being taken over and sold and stuff like that.
But you have to agree that it is important to understand that there are like
that you need to divide. Yeah,
exactly.
Of course. Yeah, there are categories of projects that.
And there are cases where I totally agree. There is not even court, but there is only criminal case. There are really borrowers where the only scenario is only criminal.
And how many are cases like this?
Oh, I would say maybe 5 cases, something like that.
Can you mention them? So I think it's fertilizer, this Organika,
fertilizer.
Right? What else?
I don't want to mention others because it's still not done yet. So in these cases, the case is open, so I can share, but I don't want to mention others.
But roughly 5.
Not more than 5. Yes. So in my opinion, 4 or 5.
I checked the secondary market of Crowdestor, and in some projects there are investors who are trying to sell with huge discounts, like 70-80%, and still no one buys them. So this seems quite crazy, and reminds of Vivento, I think, that also had really huge discounts in secondary market. And maybe some comment from your side. What do you think should these investors do? Should they wait for some kind of recovery, or should they lower discounts to 90% or what?
Well, of course, I'm not sure. I don't know about which projects you are talking about precisely, but of course,
I think one of the projects I remember was this, the one I mentioned, this UK company. No, well, maybe fertilizer as well, but this UK transport company.
I think that it's a complicated, of course, question for me. Yes, because. But on the other hand, if you have a portfolio of 100 projects, and if you have had, because you should also take into consideration the ones which are repaid, because if you don't take into consideration which are repaid already, then you will come to a moment, of course, when 100% is late, because the last one which is late is late. So if you have had 100, I don't know, if 50 are paid back, 50% are paid back without problems, you have the other 50, out of this 50 you have half which is let's say problematic and very long late and will have some losses, the other half is simply late but you will get the money back, then of course you can take one other third out of this portfolio, sell it quickly, so you basically, you know, also emotionally you're out of this project. Even if it is 3 projects where you out of 100 where you sell with a 50, 60 or 70% discount, it should not be a dramatical case for your total return. Of course, if you sell 30% of projects with such a discount, then it is bad. But if you sell 3 or 5% of projects with so big discount, and then let's say even if the other 5% will have also part of loss, then in the end, in the same time, if you are also buying something, then
so you would suggest to just have some kind of diversified portfolio?
I would suggest to have the diversified portfolio, yes, and to of course be patient, because that's our platform is. You can't compare it with Estate Guru or some other such type of platforms. So we have this.
So you have high interest rates and really high risk,
and this is actually a reason. This is actually a reason why we started working on this Flex, which is also you said that, which is in today's topic, because. It is very time consuming and expensive and hard to manage 150 or 200 different projects, which all has some kind of problem, because sometimes I'm having a meeting with one borrower for 3 hours. I have had a meeting of 8 hours. Yes, so basically I start at 9 and then I finish at 6, and it's one meeting. And if I have, and then I understand that I did not manage to work on another 10 cases. But in the same time, we have also, as I said, about 25 million repaid. And we have many good borrowers. But those good borrowers, when they repay, they see that our interest has raised during the last 1.5 years, so they don't want anymore to take money from us. So now we are in a situation that the good borrowers, they repay and go away, and we are left with the ones which are
problematic.
Not only, but which has like where we have issued the loan, which are current and the more problematic cases, and plus huge amount of projects. So that's why I wanted to pick up several good borrowers with whom we have had experience, and to let's say make a portfolio and offer such type of conditions as the Flex offers. Of course, in this case, we also have to agree that those borrowers which are taking money like almost on the mirror are accepting those offers and those conditions what we are offering to investors. Yes, but this is where I see that people they have big interest. Yes, lower rate but more flexibility, and
so you want to offer less interest rate,
yes,
less risk,
smaller
pool, portfolio of borrowers.
And this is how I see our next, let's say, 1-2 years, that we have this portfolio of good borrowers where we have lower rate, plus we have more equity and success fee type of deals, and their collection. So these are, let's say, 3 pillars where I want to concentrate, because I don't want to concentrate maybe on those SMEs for a year, that we have to issue new loans every day and then again this portfolio is big. So yes.
Okay.